Hey, once again, it's out and about, so I can take advantage of the time and do another Sauntering Snippet. Today, baby formula. Now you would think that I would have no interest in this whatsoever, being now of senior citizen status, but as most of you know, we have the grandson. And it wasn't all that long ago where basically baby formula kept him alive. And like a lot of other moms nowadays and other families, it had to be a specialty one. It really was expensive. The problem was that he didn't eat very much of it. So we were constantly having, especially at birth, since he was preemie, we brought him home at 3 pounds, 15 ounces. We could only get 3, 4, 5 meals a day. We exulted once we got 10 mils, and that was a few months down the line. And he stayed on that for quite some time because, the natural way was not an option. But I'm looking at and listening to what's been going on, and I learned something today. Most of us know that it's been an Abbott's factory that was sited way back in the beginning of the year, and has remained closed ever since. There's been a little bit of a back and forth as to whether or not the 2 babies that died and the 2 that were sickened were from the formula, because there were different strains of the same germs that killed them. But that the strain that was found in the factory was not the cause of death in the babies. However, it creates 45% of all the baby formula in the country. And today, in watching, this week with George Stephanopoulos, he wasn't on, his co-host was. And yes, somebody's got to watch those shows because you probably aren't. But Susan Isger mentioned that, and I didn't know this, that Abbott has monopoly status with most of the states. So when you look at that, almost all of these states have no baby formula, mostly because the FDA hasn't let that factory back up. How long does it take to clean such a factory that is mostly clean right off the bat? Abbott just let it sit there. The FDA did nothing. And now we end up where moms all over the country are scrambling for baby food, especially for folks like the most esteemed wife and I. And there's more of us than what you think. Seniors taking care of little babies and little children has been on the rise because of the opioid epidemic and other drug use. So we had to do it the hard way. The problem there is, what are we supposed to do? Fortunately, we're a few years down the line. He's eating solid food, doing well, other than he's got a temperature right now. So we'll see about school tomorrow. But you take that combination of Abbott's factory shutting down, the big giant in the industry, and all of these different states basically allowing a monopoly by Abbott. Now you add in the 7.5% tariffs. Again, I learned that today as well. 7.5% tariff on all baby food coming into the country. Protectionism, not free trade. And that the FDA has not approved any of those baby formulas from the European nations. They're just about the same as what ours are. So it's an artificial barrier the government has created that does not allow for a good backup supply. There is no plan B for baby formula. So really, when you look at it, people are pointing their fingers at Abbott. People really should be pointing their fingers at government. No, not just for taking their good old sweet time, thanks to the FDA, of reopening it up, but for making it impossible for other places to, or other countries to, for us to buy that baby powder. You know, it has been grimly pointed out that back at the end of World War II, the U.S. was at the forefront of saving Berlin with an airlift, and we imported hundreds of thousands of tons of food to feed all the newly freed Germans. Whoever thought that America was going to be the country from which Germany would have to send us baby food, and we'd have to airlift food back into the U.S. for little babies. That's a problem. That's a shame. It's almost a crime that the richest country in the world, at least for we people, not the country, because our elected leaders have spent us into oblivion that I don't think will ever be paid back, but that we have to import such foodstuffs that we cannot do it for ourselves. And ask yourself, is government the help or the problem here? Anyways, this is yet another installment of Skip's Sauntering Snippets, and we'll talk to you next time.
Crop TV.